Sky is so high, if you don't know how to fly, aim feel easier to make you fly. Sky is so high, if you don't know how to fly, aim feel easier to make you fly. Here we go.
Worry if you're worried about someone today. If I say hundreds of things to you today, even if I tell you my bank account number also, my ATM pin also, ATM number also, then also you'll not be able to memorize it, or you will not be interested in it because you're worried about something else. There is some other worries, some other tensions in your head, so you'll not be interested in what I'm saying. Okay, fear or anger, these are some feelings which will be acting as a barrier to listening. Language differences or accent. If you have an accent problem is a very big problem. Always try to avoid that. Okay, accent problem is something which is a big barrier in communicating with people. Always try to, whatever accents you have got, whoever I have told that you have got accents, please try to improve that, because when you use accents, okay, it is very difficult for the other person to understand, because he will just concentrate on the accent you are telling. He will not concentrate. All right, bias or prejudice. Okay, listening starts early. Here are some tips. Okay, tip number 1: speak clearly. Speak clearly. Okay, so every one of you can read this. I'll share my screen. Okay, you can read this. One of you can read this. Speak clearly. Tip number 1.
Ma'am, the screen isn't visible.
You can if you're using. Okay, it's not visible. Just a moment. Is it visible now? Is it visible now?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, I can see your screen.
Ma'am, you can just share the PDF if you have.
Yeah, it's not allowed. It's by your management. I have to take permission actually.
Ma'am, have in your video, then only they'll be able to see the screen. I guess they have to pin your video, then only they will be able to see your screen. Because I can see your screen, that means your screen is.
Ma'am, I can also see.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. If you have to pin your video, then we are able to see.
Yeah.
But I am also able to see. I think who is not able to see the video?
I cannot see the video, ma'am.
Hushi?
Ma'am, I was not able to see, but I pinned your screen.
Yes,
Now
ma'am,
I'm
I
able to see.
also. Okay, so everyone do that, no?
Yeah, got it, ma'am. Got it.
Okay, so one of you read this down. Anyone? Anyone of you?
Which?
Ma'am, I'll read it.
I can. Okay, one of you read. Last week, my husband. See, it is written there. Tip number 1: speak clearly.
Okay, I'll read. Tip number 1: speak clearly. Last week, my husband and I went to the grocery store. The cashier who rang up our order was a high school student, probably somewhere between the ages of 16 and 18. He had longish hair and several piercings, not unusual for today's teens and young adults, and certainly not off-putting. What we found annoying was that he mummed. We couldn't understand a word he said. Our response to everything he said was, "What?" Keep in mind, my husband and I have pretty good hearing. Ma'am, can you scroll your screen?
Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible the same can't be said for some other customers. Since the grocery store is located near two large retirement communities, many of the customers in the store were senior citizens. Not all senior citizens have hearing problems, but many do. And not all teenagers mumble when they speak, but many do. If you want, you can mumble.
Okay, so I understood what it is said in this paragraph.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, someone else can read next paragraph, tip number 2.
I'll read, ma'am.
Read it.
Tip number 2. Don't interrupt someone at work.
So, Aishwarya, please switch on the video and speak.
Okay, ma'am.
Steady.
Tip number 2. Don't interrupt someone at work unless you need to tell him or her something extremely urgent. Several years ago, I worked in a public library where one of my
Duties.
job duties was supervising teenage boys. This was the first work experience for many of them, and so I took my job of supervising them very seriously. I needed to make sure they understood appropriate workplace behavior, not only because it affected how they did their jobs at the library, but because I hoped they would learn something that would help them in the future. One boy, Joe, constantly interrupted me until I was finished. No, sorry, ma'am. While I was helping veterans. Each time this happened, I patiently explained to him that he would have to wait to speak to me until I was finished. This happened over and over until I couldn't take it anymore. I finally had to tell Joe, please don't interrupt me unless my hair is on fire. It worked.
Okay, so understood why you do not have to
Not seeing
interrupt.
my screen.
Sorry?
Not
Nadesh, are you able to see my screen now?
looking, ma'am.
Okay, so you can pin my video and then you can see. Okay, so if you interrupt someone in between, this happen. Never interrupt anyone. If someone is speaking, let that person finish. Okay, let that person finish. Only then you can tell. Otherwise, that person will get angry. And how this person is, have told that please don't interrupt me unless my hair is on fire. Means he's angry. He's very angry. He's telling this in anger. So if you interrupt someone, that thing, if you interrupting will make him angry and also agitated. Okay, and he will have a bad vibe about you, a negative vibe about you. Okay, if you don't want such things, you can always let the other person speak to show some respect what he is telling. All right, let him come. After that, you can share your own views. Tip number 3: dress appropriately. Dress appropriately. Can anyone else can read this?
Can I read, ma'am?
Sure, Veena.
Tip number 3, dress appropriately. Many people, including adults, are confused about what to wear to work. That's why I sometimes think it's easier if you have to wear a uniform. However, that's the case for only a few jobs. Others will have a pretty stringent dress code, which also takes the decision out of your hands. Many employers merely tell you to dress appropriately. What does that mean anyway? Casual clothing is usually okay for most jobs Dean hold. Generally, jeans and t-shirts or short t-shirts are okay. Make sure your clothes are clean and your jeans aren't ripped, even though this may be in style. Don't wear t-shirts imprinted with things that may offend others, even if you personally are not offended. Girls shouldn't wear reveal clothes, for an example, short shorts or micro mini skirts.
Okay, so do not wear this kind of things to the workplace. Okay, because everywhere, even in America today, even if it's a very this country, not like India, still they follow some decency. Okay, while in workplace, everywhere in the world, wherever you go, inside the workplace, there is always decency. Most of the organization follow decent clothes. So always, whenever you are dressing up, try to wear formal clothes, decent hairstyle. Okay, no boys should not wear all this, nose rings, hairpins, and all those pins. Okay, that looks very creates a bad impression about that person. Okay, tip number 4 and 5. Listen carefully and pay attention. Someone can please volunteer yourself to read that.
Ma'am, may I?
Yeah,
May
sure.
I?
Sure.
Tips number 4 and 5. Listen carefully and pay attention. I have saved what I feel are the most important tips for last. When my daughter starts kindergarten, I thought I did get her off to a good start by teaching her these 2 basic rules. One day, I said to her, there are 2 important things you should always remember. Listen carefully and pay attention. Then I asked her to tell me what those 2 important things were, to which she replied, I don't know. I guess she wasn't listening or paying attention. Her excuse, she was only 5. I'm sure you will have an easy time remembering these rules and the other tips presented here.
Very nice, very well written. And the way you're reading, Janvi, it is very good. You're reading as if you're reading an announcement. Very nice, Janvi. Very good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so what it 4 and 5 is telling, listen carefully and pay attention. Sometimes if you'll not listen carefully and not pay attention, you'll miss out big things. Okay. Sometimes you are in a queue and you are waiting all the queue to listen and password suppose. If at that point of time you will become tired because you're waiting so long in the queue and you're becoming so tired. So at the right point of time, if you lose that attention thing, then there is no use of waiting for so long in the queue. Okay, you should always, whenever you are talking to someone or you are having a conversation with someone, make sure that you are listening carefully and paying attention. Otherwise, if you'll like blindly nod your head or blindly you just if it's a signature thing also, if you blindly sign some document without reading the document and without being careful, okay, you can lose a big thing. You can be in the trouble. All right. Observation.
Observation is creative. Now, how can people keep thinking about what they don't want even when they're hugely motivated or manifest something new? It's very simple. If you're in a situation you don't want to be in and you observe it or notice it, you are thinking about it. That means you're intending its continuation. For example, you're overweight and you're intending to be thin, and you go to the mirror and see your overweight body. You just intended the opposite of what you want, thereby negating your intention to be thin. That's harsh, isn't it? But this is why intentions can take a while to manifest. Now, how the heck are you gonna focus on what you want if your motivation is something you don't want? And that, of course, is the $1 million question. Fortunately, there's a $1 million answer. Creative observation. Let's review the rules of intention. Ma'am, can you speak, please? Intention manifestation.
So observation is creative. Whenever you observe something very nicely, you can observe. You can be a creative person. You can do something which is creative when you observe something very nicely with concentration by paying attention. Okay, you can create things out of that. Okay, it is ultimately a creativity, neutral or negative way. You're wasting your time. This is what you don't get thin by harboring thoughts like I hate being fat. Instead, you must acknowledge your present overweight body while latching into the hope that your momentum is headed towards your goal weight. Fortunately, no matter how overweight, broke, lonely, or unmotivated you are, there is always hope. There is always the possibility of turning things around. Even if pure dumb luck is the only ray of hope, you can accept right now that's a step in the right direction. Hold that hope as a general position, accepting rather than becoming attached to just one way your actions might manifest. For example, you might focus on the hope of attracting better financial luck, but don't assume in front of you of a lottery win. This is the works, and your goals if you observe your pay rate of your goals. But if you set a goal and observe your present situation with a negative or neutral bias, then your goals will have no power to induce change. So this means just giving an example.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So next topic is communication. This is very important. Okay, there is much discussions in the academic world of communications as to what actually constitutes communication. Currently, many definitions of communications are used in order to conceptualize the process by which people navigate and assign meaning. Communication is also understood as the exchange of understanding. Additionally, the biocommunication theory investigates communicative processes within and among non-humans such as bacteria, animals, fungi, and plants. So they are also kind of there is also communication between this, okay, which helps us to maintain the ecosystem. So it is talking about those communication, the biocommunication. We might say that communication consists of transmitting information from one person to another. In fact, many scholars of communication take this as a working definition and use Laswell's maxim, who says that to whom, in what channel, with what effect, as a mean of circumscribing the field of communication theory. So here you will study about functions of communication, the communication process, communication fundamentals, key communication skills. So these are the 4 things that we'll be doing a study about. First one is functions of communication. All of you please write it down. Functions of communication. And write these 3 things: control, motivation, emotional expression. Information. Everyone switch on their videos. All of you switch on videos and write it down. Control, motivation, emotional expression, and information. These are the 4 functions of communication. I'll be asking an exam, okay? Tell me the functions of communication, then you have to answer these 4. Write it down. Control, number 1. Number 2, motivation. Number 3, emotional expression. Number 4, information. Communication process. So there is a communication process also. This diagram you can see: source, coding, channel, decoding, receiver. Please write that. Source, again hyphen, how it is written there in the diagram. You can see the PDF. All of you switch on videos and write. Everyone switch on, Janvi. Source, encoding, channel, decoding, receiver. These are the 5 things that you have to write. Communication process. Number 1, directions and networks. Okay. In the direction, you can write downward, upward, crosswise. And in the network, you can write formal versus informal. Also, you can draw this diagram of chain, wheel, all channels. Okay. Have you written down communication process, source, encoding, channel, decode, receiver? You have written no? Okay, so now you can write this. The communication process, direction for 3 points, downward, upward, crosswise. Next one is network. Network, you can write formal versus informal. Under that, you can draw this diagram. Chain, wheel, all channels, and give a heading of communication networks. Janvi, someone is making you laugh? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so next one is barriers of effective communication. Barriers of effective communication. First one is filtering. Second point, selective perception. Third point, emotions. Fourth point, language. Barriers of effective communication. And key communication skills. What are the key communication skills? Very, very important, which I will be doing it for you guys. Listening skills, feedback skills, presentation skills, all for you. This will be conducted for you. Listening skills from your side. I'll be speaking something and I'll tell you what I have said. Okay, you have to tell me what I was telling. That is the listening skills. Feedback skills, I'll give you feedback. Presentation skills, you have to do a presentation. Alright, so very, very important, take a note of it. Key communication skills. Key communication skills. Okay, so meaning, basic communication skills profile.
Can you show me key
Sure.
communication skills?
Listening skills, feedback skills, presentation skills. Empathy. Okay, emotional intelligence. So anyone, before reading this chapter, can anyone tell me what empathy is? What do you mean by empathy? It is one of the most important feeling everyone should have when you work in aviation. Empathy.
Walking in someone else's shoes.
Yes, walking in someone else's shoes. Empathize. You're absolutely correct.
Others' emotion.
Sorry, what Divya?
Understanding others' emotion.
Exactly, the exact words. Any other people? Any other people would like to say what is empathy? Empathizing someone. What do you mean by empathizing someone? Is empathy and sympathy similar to each other?
No, man.
No.
Yeah, it's no. Empathy and sympathy are two different words. Sympathy means feeling pity for someone. Empathy, the correct word is you understanding, exactly Divya, whatever you said, understanding someone, what he is feeling at that point of time, or if you would have been in his place, how would you have felt? Okay, if the same thing would have happened to you. Suppose today suppose today you are booking a ticket, and because of some reasons you are late. You are not allowed to board aircraft. You missed your flight, and you're asking for a refund. Okay, at that point of time, you cannot give the refund because it is that person's fault only. But you can empathize him, how he is feeling at that point of time. Suppose you have paid a ticket for 10,000, 12,000 rupees, and if you would have missed a flight, what at that point of time, what you would have felt? Okay, that is called empathizing. You can give any other solution, you can calm him down, you can give him any other solution, but never the refund, because it is ultimately the passenger's fault. But then also you can empathize him because it was a great loss for his own mistake. All right, so perspective talking. Just as empathy was conceptually distinguished from sympathy, beginning with the early definitions of empathy in the 1800s, the term may be in the process of being distinguished again. This time from perspective talking, due both to the conceptual confusions between the emotional and cognitive aspects of empathy and to emerging sense of the differences in the functional aspects of the two phenomena. More recent discussions have distinguished between empathy as a more intuitive emotional aspect and perspective talking as the more cognitive aspect. The development of empathy. By the age of 2, children normally begin to display the fundamental behaviors of empathy by having an emotional response that corresponds with another person. Even earlier, at 1 year of age, infants have some rudiments of empathy in the sense that they understand that just like their own actions, other people's actions have goals. Sometimes toddlers will comfort others or show concern for them as early as 24 months of age. Also during second year, toddlers will play games of falsehood or pretend in an effort to fool others. And this requires that the child know what others believe before he or she can manipulate those. According to researchers at the University of Chicago who used functional magnetic resonance imaging fMRI, children between age 7 and 12 appear to be naturally inclined to feel empathy for others in pain. Their feelings, published in Neuropsychologia, June 3rd, 2008, are consistent and previous fMRI studies of pain and empathy with adults. The research also found additional aspects of the brain when youngsters saw another person intentionally hurt by another individual, including regions involved in the reasoning. Despite being able to show some signs of empathy, such as attempting to comfort a crying baby from as early as 18 months or 2 years, most children do not have a fully fledged story of mind until around the age of 4. Theory of mind involves the ability to understand that the other people may have beliefs that they are different from one's one, and is thought to involve the cognitive component of empathy. Children usually become capable of passing false belief tasks, considered to be a test for a theory of mind, around the age of 4. Individuals with autism often find using a theory of mind very difficult. Example: Baron Cohen, Leslie, and Furt. In the year 1988, the Sally-Anni test, empathic maturity is a cognitive structural theory developed at the Yale University School of Nursing and addresses how adults conceive or understand the personhood of patients. The theory first applied to nurses and since applied to other professions postulates 3 levels of the cognitive structure. The third and the highest level is held to be a meta-ethical theory of the moral structure of care. Those adults operating with level 3 understanding synthesize systems of justice and care-based ethics. Lack of empathy. So who is the lack of empathy? These are the two These are the two things which shows that you have a lack of empathy. Number one is psychopathy. Number two is enjoyment of others' suffering. These are the two qualities which shows that you have a lack of empathy. Psychopathy. Some psychopaths are able to detect the emotions of others with such a theory of mind and can mimic caring and friendship in a convincing manner, often in an effort to exploit others. While some psychopaths can detect what others are feeling, they do not experience any reciprocal emotions or sympathy. However, some research indicates that components of neural circuits involved in empathy may also be dysfunctional in psychopathy. Empathy certainly does not guarantee benevolence. Okay, enjoyment of others' suffering. The same ability may underlie Schadenfreude, taking pleasure in the pain of other entity, and sadism, being sexually gratified through the infliction of pain or humiliation on another person. Okay. Recently, a functional MRI conducted by Jean Desity and colleagues at the University of Chicago has demonstrated that youth with aggressive conduct disorder who have psychopathic tendencies have a different brain response when confronted with empathy eliciting stimuli. In a study, researchers compared 16 to 18-year-old boys with aggressive conduct disorder to a control group of adolescent boys with no unusual signs of aggression. The boys with the conduct disorder had exhibited disruptive behavior such as starting a fight, using a weapon, and stealing after confronting a victim. The youth were tested with fMRI while looking at video clips in which people endured pain accidentally, such as when a heavy ball was dropped on their heads, and intentionally, such as when a person stepped on another's foot. Results show that the aggressive youth activated the neural circuits underpinning pain processing to the same extent, and in some cases even more so than the control participants without conduct disorder. However, aggressive adolescents showed a specific and very strong activation of the amygdala, ventral stratum, an area that responds to feeling reward when watching pain inflicted on others, which suggested that they enjoyed watching pain. Unlike the control group, the youth with conduct disorder did not activate the area of the brain involved in the self-regulation and moral reasoning. So if I ask you lack of empathy, you can just answer psychopathy. Number second point, enjoyment of others' suffering. These are the 2 points. Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, EI, describes the ability, capacity, skill, or in the case of the trait EI model, the self-perceived ability to identify, assess, and manage the emotions of oneself, of others, and of groups. Different models have been proposed for the definition of emotional intelligence, and disagreement exists as to how the term should be used. Despite disagreements, which are often highly technical, the ability, emotional intelligence, and trait EI models, but not the fixed models, enjoy support in the literature and have successful applications in different domains. Defining emotional intelligence. Substantial disagreement exists regarding the definition of emotional intelligence with respect to both terminology and operationalizations. There has been much confusion regarding the exact meaning of this construct. The definitions are so varied and the field is growing so rapidly that the researchers are constantly amending even their own definitions of the construct. At the present time, there are 3 models of EI. Everyone please note the 3 models of emotional intelligence. Write the heading as 3 models of emotional intelligence. Question is, write the 3 main models of emotional intelligence. Answer will be number 1, ability emotional intelligence models, mixed models of emotional intelligence, trait emotional intelligence models. Alright. The ability based model. The ability is seen to manifest itself in certain adaptive behaviors. The model claims that EI includes 4 types of abilities. Can you write about the ability based model? All of you are writing it down, no? Every one of you. Everyone needs to switch on their video. All of you.
Ma'am, what is the question?
First question was, write about the 3 main models of emotional intelligence, that is EI. Can you see the top part? The ability EI model, mixed models of EI, trait EI model. So this 3 model you have to write when the question is asked as write about the 3 main models of EI. EI is emotional intelligence. Again, if a question will ask, write about the ability-based model. Write about the ability-based model. You have to answer from here. Okay. The initial definition of EI was this. 1 second. You can write their initial definition of emotional intelligence was revised to. Okay, so this is the definition of emotional. 1 second. So write if someone will tell you, write the definition of emotional intelligence. The definition of emotional intelligence is definition of emotional intelligence, the ability to perceive. Can you see this line? The ability to perceive emotion. The ability to perceive emotion, comma, integrate emotion, to facilitate thought, understand emotions, and to regulate emotions to promote personal growth. Alright, so that is the definition of emotional intelligence, EI. Okay, EI. What is EI? You can write the ability to perceive emotion, integrate emotion to facilitate thought, understand emotion, and to regulate emotion to promote personal growth. That is the definition of EI. Okay, so now next thing you write about the ability based model. The ability based model, give the heading as ability based model and write the line. The ability based model you write from the 4th line. The ability based model views emotions as useful sources. Can you see, all of you able to write it down? No writing, no everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the ability based model, when you are giving heading under that, write this content. Okay, start from here. The ability based model views, start right away from here. The ability based model views emotions as useful sources of information that help one to make sense of and navigate the social environment of and navigate the social environment. The model proposes that individuals vary. The model proposes that the individuals vary. The model proposes that individuals vary in their ability to process information of an emotional nature and in their ability to relate emotional processing to a wider cognition. This ability is seen to manifest itself in certain adaptive behaviors. The model claims that EI includes 4 types of abilities. Number 1, perceiving emotions. Number 2, using emotions. Number 3, understanding emotions. Number 4, managing emotions. I'll give you the definition of all of this. Okay, I'll read once again. I'll tell you. There are 3 main models of EI: ability EI models, mixed models of EI, trait EI models. Define emotional intelligence. Definition of emotional intelligence is the ability to perceive emotion, integrate emotion, to facilitate thought, understand emotions, and to regulate emotions, to promote personal growth. That is the definition of EI. Okay. Next paragraph you write down about the ability-based model. Okay. Then from the 4th point of the paragraph, the ability-based model. Okay. Page number. Emotions, useful sources of information that help one to make sense and navigate the social environment. The model proposes that individuals vary in their ability to process information of an emotional nature, in their ability to relate emotional processing to a wider cognition. This ability is seen to manifest itself in certain adaptive behaviors. The model claims that EI includes 4 types of abilities. Number 1, perceiving emotions. Number 2, using emotions. Number 3, understanding emotions. Number 4, managing emotions. Number 1, perceiving emotions. Number 2, using emotions. Number 1, perceiving emotions. Number 2, using emotions. Number 3, understanding emotions. Number 4, managing emotions. Okay, the definitions tomorrow I'll give you, tomorrow's class. Any doubts, any one of you? Anyone missed anything? Okay. Okay, goodbye everyone.
No, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am.